All righty. I'm unmuted. I'm unmuted. This is a jacuzzi. Yes, I'm having a good time today. Well, you know, it doesn't matter how much I work, I can find a way to work from the jacuzzi, which is amazing. Folks, it's so awesome to be here. We're living in a crazy, wacky world. By the way, that was Chris Darlington with You Are Not For Sale. Chris Darlington was actually at our Nashville Truth Tour, did a wonderful job. And hopefully, I'm sure, I would guess he'll probably be at the Unity Tour on a couple stops for us also. We're in crazy times. So all I ask you for right now is please like, follow, and share because we have to somehow overcome the algorithms. But let me bring on my illustrious co-host, Robert Imbrai Ali.
Partly recovered co-host.
Yes. How is your back, sir?
Oh, well, better, much better than it was last week and improving every day. But I really, Lewis, I swear, I did everything I could to stay away from the news yesterday and just
Oh,
relax and let the body recover and catch up. But oh my gosh, this soap opera,
that's
every
exactly
hour,
what it
there's
is.
something new.
Yes, it is a soap opera for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but we said the actual election, if there is one, go figure, just another prediction come true. Um, so, Robert, let me just ask you, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. In your opinion, are these white hat, gray hat, black hat moves? Is everything we just see real or is it all fake? I mean, what did your gut tell you? Because it is crazy to say the least.
It is, and you look at the stack of stuff coming out, and you look at all the news, and you know you can kind of form an opinion, and then an hour later something else comes out, and your opinion's changed. So the only thing for me that has remained consistent was that this was an inside job. This was a JFK type assassination from the good guys, from the government, and that's the only thing that's making sense at this point. When you look at all the data points that have come out, that one is the only one that's remained consistent so far. And now more and more people are saying it. We were saying it last week. I think we were saying it, the day after, it happened, or even that night when we did the live stream. I think both of us were kind of on that same bandwagon. So there's a lot of this stuff. I mean, I've been going through it and digging through it all, and got caught up a little bit, I guess, in the soap opera of it all. But I really want to get to that point where something makes sense. I've got this big puzzle in front of me. I've got all these pieces, but the pieces don't go together. So there's a lot of pieces still missing. We may never get them, but we're going to try to put them together as best we can and make a determination at some point what really went on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of crazy. What's your gut feeling, my friend? I know you might differ from me a little bit.
Well, I feel there's three different puzzle makers, but one puzzle. So they would never go together. And the challenge I'm having is I know it's intentional. It's absolutely intentional. So there's deep state bad guys I think that are still acting. There's white state guys that are actors they're playing a movie, and then there's I think people that are trying to just be as disruptible as possible to confuse everybody.
Right.
And that's part of the spiritual informational war that we're in. And I'm past the point where I'm sick of it. And what I mean by that is when does it come to the time that we have faith in we the people to have some discernment, right? When is that time? Because it doesn't matter if you have a bunch of so-called good guys controlling everything. They're still controlling everything. And we are all adults and we need to be completely sovereign. We can claim our own sovereignty first, but we need to be completely sovereign from any influence from outside sources. So as long as these so-called white hats continue over and over to do this, they're really just a different type of controlling mechanism. Maybe they just don't eat babies and they don't do adrenochrome, right? Maybe there's a lot of people in the middle, which I think, and I'm going to explain one of those to be General Flynn today, that's just a disruptor, and so it's definitely, we're in a challenging time right now. It's the good news, bad news. Those that are willing to have more discernment are probably honing those skills better, which is awesome. those who don't understand discernment, it's probably really messing up with their minds at this point.
Yeah, no
And
question.
it's driving some people crazy. And I think that's that's a slippery slope to go down. Um, so it's to me, it feels real close to the unveiling has to come hard because now we're playing games with good people to try to wake up the bad people, and I think it has to. We have to come to a point as we the people where we say, okay, enough is enough. In my opinion.
Yeah, we keep looking for that tipping point, and every time something like this happens, it's okay. We got to be there. We got to be close now. We got to be close now. I think the truth of the matter is, we'll know when we hit it because it'll be unmistakable. But we've got to get to that point, and we're not quite there yet. I think we're just
Mm-hmm.
close, but not quite there yet. Strangely.
Yeah, and so there's a whole sector that's living in the fear porn, which I'm going to explain with General Flynn. That's where he's right now. He's I'm going to scare the shit out of everybody. Everything's horrible. And then you
Yeah.
have the whole sector of people where it's only a movie. I'm not going to name any names, but it's only a movie. Just don't worry. Just chill out. It's amazing. But then there's the reality. And a white hat operation, everything's perfect and hunky dory. And there are storms, major storms that are tearing up families and homes and we talk about often the fire in Lahaina and so on and so forth. So I have trouble with being on either narrative, the all fear porn narrative and the complete hopium narrative, because I think they're both lies. I'm just going to be straight up, and at risk of losing some of you hopium fear porn people, I don't give a shit anymore because they're lying to you on both sides. So when we have to be responsible on this program, Robert, which I know you are, we have to be responsible. Just say, you know what? Maybe it's a little bit of both, or we're not sure what's going on, and our ego doesn't tell us to tell you everything's perfect, and our ego doesn't tell you also that everything's bad,
Right.
because the reality is somewhere in the middle. And I think the goal here has to be that we, the people, take the accountability ourselves to make our personal lives better and everybody around us better, and then start taking control of our local counties and cities and so on and so forth. When take a deep breath and start doing that, I do believe the micro will fix the macro, and we can stop worrying about anybody coming in on a white horse or stop worrying about anybody that's spewing fear porn at us. What's your take?
Well, we're being thrown a lot of disinformation and a lot of information, and there's a lot of bots that are playing a game. There's a lot of AI. You look at some of these stories, oh, this has got to be real. It feels right, and then 2 minutes later you realize, oh no, it's not. Here's another piece that debunks it. And we keep telling people to use their discernment. It is difficult, if not near impossible, even for you and I,
Mm-hmm.
who are, kind of experts at this. We've been doing this a while, to really figure it out. And sometimes we're going to get it wrong. So you say, well, Rob, how come you haven't taken a stand on either side? I'm like you, Lewis. There is no side that's right. Both of them are wrong. And there's truth on both sides of it. The truth is somewhere in the middle. And we haven't quite uncovered it
Mm-hmm.
yet, although we'll keep digging and looking for it. But it's stranger than fiction. I mean, you couldn't write a Hollywood
I
thriller
couldn't
better
write
than this,
this.
you know?
I could not write this. And it's a messy story, too. So it's not even a
Yeah.
movie I'd like to watch. Because it's a roller coaster and it doesn't go in any certain direction. You know what I mean? But maybe there's something to say with the multiple timelines playing out, and I've kind of felt that before, that the bad guys grab a timeline now and then they get shifted to the good guys. The good guys are running with it, and then the bad guys kind of pull it back a little bit and so on and so forth. I mean, we can go so esoteric. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just like I thought, which gives me pause in a good way, that it's Project Looking Glass, and therefore they know what's going on, and they know this is going to have the least collateral damage possible. And even though it's a pain in the ass and it sucks for us, the outcome is going to be wonderful. Please just let me know that God is helping you with this, that you don't have a bunch of ego people making these decisions, because then we're just going to go right down the same control route we were before. 10, 20, 30 years, we're going to be right back into the same mess. And that will have to end right now and forever.
I'm finding too, there's a lot of discordance now between friends, right? Because everyone is
Mhm.
kind of grabbing onto a portion of the narrative, and they make that make sense to them, and then they don't agree with you, and all of a sudden you're in conflict with someone who, no, we've been on the same page forever here. What's going on? It's really strange to watch it. So I'm not getting involved in that. I just like, yeah, whatever you think, it's great. I'm not going to argue with you. So I'm seeing that on a personal level. It's really fascinating.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm in observation mode on that one.
Yeah, I agree. And Carol Maureen Friesen, a friend of ours, says exactly what I believe. Stay in the center line, center lane.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
because you know what, 9 times out of 10, that's where everything falls right back to. So
Hmm.
we're going to go over that a little bit because um, I've said that I'm not going to pick a side with General Flynn, whether he's bad or good. I will. I do take issue though with something he posted today, and I will. I will have a response to that.
You will. So here's a post I found on X. It says, "Let's recap this historic day." Joe,
Right?
yeah,
And
have you both,
I
right?
see. I see it on both, and I see this with people with huge accounts on X, and they're flipping narratives all the time. And I'm
Yeah.
just, and when do their followers say, wait, how could you keep flip flopping back and forth and have any credibility? And the reason for the flip flopping is we know, come on, we know it. They just want to get as many clicks as possible,
Yep.
and that I believe one of the I believe we the people control the timeline. And when I say that, I'm saying how fast this is going to roll out. And unfortunately, as long as we keep buying the BS of podcasters flipping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, whatever gets them the most clicks, as long as that's where we are in our head, I believe that the timeline is stalled, where we're not going to get to the end anytime soon until we can say, until we the people can look at somebody and say, yeah, this doesn't make sense, or that one's makes sense, or nope, I'm not buying this. We don't just wholesale buy it because we've been programmed to be so lazy that we'll read a headline and we'll make our decision, or even worse, programmed to be so lazy that because we like somebody so much or we've been following them so long, whatever narrative that person puts out is bought completely without even question.
Right.
I would prefer people question my narrative. Now, you can I can say trust me because I really look at it with an open mind and a discerning eye, but that doesn't mean I don't get it wrong sometimes. So it's very important.
This is a good comment. Great advice, Lewis. Hubby called off the road asking me what's going on. I said, "Do not get triggered by anything. Angels
Mhm.
among us." Yeah,
That's right. You
absolutely.
cannot.
You know. Yeah, I was telling Phoebe that too. It's like it's easy to get caught up in the emotion of it all, and we try to maintain a kind of a middle ground on this because we don't know what's real. So you can get all upset about something that you're hearing, and then only later to find out that not true, right?
That's
So
right.
save that energy. We're going to need it. The battle's going to heat up. We're going to need that energy. So if you're going into that drama, because that's really what it is. If you're going into that drama, take a deep breath, ground again, come back to center,
Hmm.
realize we don't really know what's going on. What you're hearing may or may not be the truth. No sense reacting until we get to that point where we know for a fact that it's the truth, right?
Yeah, I would totally agree. In fact, I think it's important also for us to not ride that roller coaster.
Yeah.
Just take a deep breath and see what we can do.
And that's what we do. I mean, we try to stay on that center line, and we don't encourage just when driving, though. You don't want to drive on the center line. That's bad. You want to stay in your lane. But that's what we try to do: stay in our lane, to talk about what we know as best we can to be factual. There are some
Mhm.
things that you can't know, and we're trying to piece it all together. I can't tell you how many hours I spent over the weekend poring over this stuff and looking at all this stuff, trying to make heads or tails out of it. This assassination attempt, and now the resignation, which we kind of knew was coming. And you've got all these pieces that well, where do we go from here? What's the next step here? Well, I think my gut tells me it's going to heat up from here. It's not going to slow down. It's going to be even more coming out that is going to be a little surprising, even to us who are quote unquote in the know. I think we're going to be surprised by some of the things that come out in the weeks ahead.
Yeah, and it has to be coming out. I think we're to that point. So
Oh well,
let's do
look at
it.
the bright side, Lewis. This assassination attempt. If we didn't have X and we didn't have Rumble, they would have gotten away with a cover up. They are working every time, we bring more information, we open it up even more, and they have to get a bigger canvas to cover it up, and they can't do it. They can't keep up. We're putting the information out there so quickly now as citizens that they can't cover it up like they used to. I mean, if you think about the Kennedy assassination, what was it, 1963, right? We look at that. Well, what was the media back then? It was newspapers. That was the main media. And you had, a newscast at 6 and another one at 11. That's it. You really didn't have anything else. So, with phone calls between friends, maybe, but that's about all. And it was much easier to control than this behemoth they've got now called the internet,
Yep, absolutely.
So we're all in it, folks. We're all in it together. And guys, if you have information that you're seeing that we're not seeing, send it to me, Robert at renegademedia.tv. We'll parse it and we'll go through it. I mean, I can't guarantee I'll respond to everyone because I've got hundreds of emails that come in every week, but I do look. I want to know. I want to know if I'm missing something because, we can get myopic and we could look at the same accounts again and again and not see the broader picture. So I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. All right, my friend, let's go talk about General Mike Flynn. And then we're going to bring on Lance. Lance is in the back room, so we're going to bring him on. He's joining us today, and then Alan will join us a little bit later.
Actually, Alan's not joining us. He sent me a blog post he made that I thought was incredible. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
And I actually I didn't even read the whole thing, but I was just the beginning and the topic. I'm just like, wow, I'm going to have to read this on air. So,
do you want to do that first?
So,
or do you want to do Flynn first? It's up to you.
Let's do Flynn first.
Okay. So his post, all kidding aside, this is a very serious time for America. Unprecedented type actions in the past 24 hours alone. That said, some stray electrons on a Monday morning. I guess bits of information, he's calling it. First, Biden Inner Circle began yesterday on TV saying Biden not withdrawing. 90 minutes later, a letter is released. He obviously didn't write, withdrawing from the race in an incredibly humiliating manner. So he has some takeaways. HRC, Hillary goddamn Clinton, no way allows Harris to get the nomination despite endorsing her. Says something is in the works. Obama is a puppet master, just not a very good one. The Obama-associated cabal is very powerful to be probably true. Harris will likely be a filler for the next few weeks, possible. The Dem establishment is not at all concerned with FEC laws, Federal Elections Commission laws, and knows she's highly conflicted and a loser. Wow. Less than 3% in the Dem primary when she was running for president last time. Her approval rating is lower than Biden's. In fact, it's so low she doesn't even approve of herself. Just to let you know. The globalist cabal is very powerful and will do whatever is required to stay in power. Trump's security needs to be on high alert. Number 7, for Trump's campaign team, focus on how dishonest these people and their DNC processes are, and laser focus on how damaging their issues and policies have been to regular Americans and how you will improve the safety and security of all Americans. Finally, number 8, whoever emerges as the Dem nominee, Obama will only support that nominee if they're able to serve him for a 4th term. Lots of stuff to unpack here.
Which I'm going to do. But first things first, it's interesting. Let's assume the Democrats have some type of control. And the fact that they have, let's even assume Biden didn't write the letter, but Biden has endorsed Kamala Harris as the nominee. Okay. If I don't believe there is, but assuming there is still a Democrat Party, if they truly, and I wrote a post about this week, and if they truly wanted Kamala Harris to be the nominee, they would have had Biden step down from being president, so she would be the incumbent nominee for the Democratic Party, which would give her a lot more juice and would virtually be a shoo-in as the nominee if they did that.
It's only
So,
Monday, Lewis. It's only Monday.
well, no, the point is,
Yeah.
the point is the fact that he stepped away from the party or stepped away from being a nominee, but
He paused his
continued to say,
campaign, right?
I'm going to run as I'm going to continue my presidency, which we know is fake, is absolutely a slap in Kamala's face, even though it looks exactly opposite to We the People. It's not. I hope people really understand this. If he was being truthful, he would have resigned from being president because Kamala would automatically be president, and therefore she would be the incumbent nominee. So he does not support her, or whoever wrote the letter does not support her. This is a game. It's all one big fat game, and the Democrats do this all the time. So I joked around on X this week, and I said clearly the Democrats don't want but they probably are okay with a black male president. So if you see Michelle Obama in there, you'll know that they're okay with another black male president. But the reality, I think their guy is Gavin Newsom. Okay, so all of that being said, let's get to that gives a basis. Let's get to General Flynn's post and why this is fear porn, which I'm done with. So he says Biden's inner circle, not withdrawing. 90 minutes later, a letter is released. He obviously didn't write the letter. Yeah, clearly he didn't write the letter. That's very, very obvious. Right? And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to even see it. You just have to be kind of in the know or paying attention to know. There's a lot of these people off the map. Now, maybe if you want to be all fear porn, maybe the deep state took them off the map and they put a bunch of clones in their place because they want to control them. That's fine. Go that direction. But to keep pretending over and over and over that HRC is still alive, it's just ludicrous. Ludicrous. I proved with the video that got completely suppressed that she was in handcuffs under Obama's administration. She's gone. So then there's like the Obama associated cabal, blah, blah, blah. Harris will likely be a filler for the next few weeks. The other thing is, why not just mention, if the conservatives are being real, why not just mention the truth? When Knee Pad Harris was born, right? She was born to I believe it was a Jamaican, was it father and an Indian mother, or vice versa,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? So she's not even eligible to be president.
They were here on student visas, which makes her an anchor baby.
She's an anchor baby. So why even go with the narrative? The game is getting ridiculous. I don't think the white hats, so-called, which is maybe gray, leaning black at this point. Well, why do they have to keep playing the game? How about just say, she's not eligible. Look here's the proof. Boom. I've got the proof. You got the proof. Probably half the people watching here have the proof. So let's stop playing the game. The problem is, we the people are sucking on the teat of the narrative. And it's the same thing that got us here. We the people sucked on the teat of the narrative of all big government and mainstream media for decades. So have we just taken our mouth off of one teat and put it on another teat? Oh, well, because you're a patriot, I'll believe everything you say? Or because you say you support Trump, so therefore I believe everything you say? That's not discernment. All we did is move our mouth from one teat to another teat. Different flavored milk. Right? Thank God it's chocolate milk because I like that a lot better, but it is just a different flavored milk. So this is where I believe that the timeline is being suppressed because we completely buy all this narrative. I'll continue on his. That the globalist cabal is very powerful and do whatever is required to stay in power. Trump's security needs to be on high alert. Okay, Flynn, if you really are supportive of Trump and you are who you are, 6 and 7 which he's talking about Trump's security and so on and so forth, da da da. He should be able to just tell Trump that directly. Why would you need to make a post over it? It doesn't even make sense. He's telling Trump how honest these people. Just know how dishonest the people that you're dealing with. Of course, they know it. They're fighting the deep state. So this is information to me to build Flynn up, which really pisses me off, to be honest with you. And I don't apologize to anybody that just loves Flynn. I'm just done with the games. This is not about him. This just happens to be that he made this retarded post today. Right? So, guys, if you love Flynn, I apologize. But read it for yourself. It's completely unnecessary. And then to tell Trump's security team how he needs to go about business on a post instead of just calling them directly, that's ego right there, in my opinion. So, yeah, shame on Flynn on this one. Sorry, not
He's
sorry, as they say.
playing a role, right? So he's one of the players in the big psyop, and I'm just hoping, Lewis, we get to that point somewhere down the line where we can look and figure out what all these plays were and make sense of it all, because it doesn't make sense when you read it like that. Right?
Yeah, it just it doesn't make sense at all. So we have to step up and start to be in the face of the guys that we consider good and say, stop playing games. Right. We're all adults here. Let's just get the truth. Stop the manipulation. It's really up to us now, I think. And this is only my opinion, guys, so take it for what it's worth. I believe this is why things are going so slow, because we're not holding accountable the people that are called white hats. We're just waiting and waiting and waiting. I say, no, it's not habit. I guarantee you, when Trump gets into office, I'll be the first one saying, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. We're just outside that 90-day window before the election. I think that's when things really start to heat up. But then you're right, after the election, if Trump were to come out victorious in that, you've got a long period there between that and him being sworn in, where, the other side has nothing to lose at that point. Who knows what they're able to do.
Yep.
Crazy.
Agreed.
Lance is in the back office. I'm seeing his internet connection kind of bumping up and down. Lance, can you turn on your camera if you're listening so we can see your smiling face? He may not be listening, but
I love what Sporter13 says, and 100% agree with you. We need to do like Jesus and turn the tables over on the evil idiots. Yes, we do. It's time to flip some tables, y'all.
We do. Lance, how are you, my friend? Scooch over a little bit so we can see you.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm right in the middle of it. Wow, I have no idea why that's doing that. I'm literally about a foot and a half off to the side of my computer right now.
That's us, because we have to edit it in the back office. Sorry about that.
Right. So we've got it a little bit crooked.
Yeah.
I set the shot up today using the system for the first time, so that was my fault.
No problem, Robert.
How are you, Lance? And welcome into the show. I know you have some stuff you want to bring to us, some insights that we may or may not have covered here.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to every minute, and I truly agree with what you guys are saying in that the overall picture, it's not just straight light and it's not just straight dark. I think that there's definitely a positive influence, and it seems like in general, the good guys are in control for the most part. But like we see, and like you said this, Lewis, we're seeing people get hurt every day. We're seeing people still getting taken at the border, taken from our towns. We're still seeing general corruption happen at the town level, the state level, county governmental level. So it is something like, they've even told us it requires our participation. If this was just a movie that we had to just sit back and watch, then that would be that. And it would be, we wouldn't have to do anything. But what would be the point of that? And this is more of a question on a grander, like life sort of perspective. What would be the point of not participating in the movie and only watching it? we're here to live our life. We're here. We have to, pay our bills right now. We have to get up each morning, feed ourselves, bathe, do all the things that we do. And if it was just, okay, white hats are in complete control, you guys can sit back for the next 10 years and just watch the movie, then that would have been what happened. But it's clear that we have to participate, and that's what we're doing. And, I do believe that good guys are in control of the script and in control of the movie in general. You could call this God, and the interaction with humans. Clearly this is not just God doing this; it's God working through us as humans to implement these changes. And I do definitely believe at the same time that there is, a God divine influence over some of these events. And that kind of goes back to that attempt on Trump's life. And there's a lot that I could say about this, but I've sort of talked for a little bit, so I don't want to keep rambling at the moment.
No, this is great. And I know that Robert said you were doing some studying and some interesting connections, I believe.
Yes. Let me see if I can share the screen here. Just one second, you guys. I have to go through some permissions. Could you fill the space?
Yeah, Robert's going to sing, so we're good.
I'm looking for a screen share thing. I don't think I have one set up here, but let's go check.
Okay, while you're doing that, Robert, I'll put this up. Oh, I can't. You have to click. Oh, no, I can do it here. Guys, so also you can go to Robert's Telegram at Renegade Media for Robert's Telegram, because he will put a lot of clips from our show and things that do not make it to the show up there. And he's got great conversations going on there. In addition, if you want to find anything that we're doing here at ScrewBigGov, just go to screwbiggov.com. On the top, you have all the social media links because we get booted all the time. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter there. So if for some reason we disappear, boom, we'll still be able to find you, or you'll be able to find us. And got 21 films there that you can see. Obviously, great products like Lance Shuttler of Ascent Nutrition, so on and so forth at screwbiggov.com. Did you find it, Robert?
I have it, but yeah. Guess share, got it. So, are you able to share the screen, Lance, that you want to share?
Can you see it?
Add to scene, continue. I can see it. I've lost you, but you can talk.
Yes.
You alone.
I apologize, Lance, for the screen share. They're not hearing you for some reason.
Yeah, they can. I think they can hear him, but he's low. They said.
Okay.
Okay, I'm speaking right into the mic, so I'm not sure why that happened.
interesting enough, Lance, too, to go along with that, the Q clock showed the date of that post corresponds with the date of the assassination attempt. I'm sure that's not a coincidence.
Wow. Wow. Did you just see that, Lewis, or did you know that
No,
prior?
I reported that last week.
Awesome. Awesome.
We're
I'm a
digging
little
into
late to
this.
the game.
Now, guys, can you hear Lance, or is it no sound at all? They're saying no sound. Nope. Manny says yes.
Yeah, I turned it on this side when we're screen sharing. He's not. There's no audio coming from him. I turned it all the way up.
Okay. Well,
So,
let's just talk about it, Lance, because it's still compelling.
yeah.
Yeah. I know that you guys have been decoding this and analyzing that day and all the different things with it. So there's not, beyond that, not a whole lot that's going to be new. But I think one of the main things that stood out to me as well was the fact of the time of when it happened during his speech, 6:11, and that's referencing 6 plus 11, 17. The Ephesians 6:11, put on the armor of God. He's saying, do you want to see something sad? And he's pointing, and it looks like he's pointing to Vincent Fusha, I believe is his name.
Right.
Allegedly JFK Jr. Whether that's true or not, that's not really relevant at the moment for this. But the fact that he didn't move or flinch when that happened, to me, was pretty interesting. Did he have foreknowledge? It kind of seems like it, because most people are just going to instinctively, and like the body's just going to respond, especially if your body's going to move at least a little bit. Like you're going to at least like turn your head and look or flinch. He just sat there. So, kind of with all of this, I think that event was definitely a white hat operation intended to accomplish a lot of different objectives on both sides of it. So kind of showing how the deep state would have done this if they had the power that they once had, and the agencies of which they would have done, the Secret Service, the FBI, all the little inside jobs and all the little things that never added up with JFK and all the other assassinations. It's sort of helping us to dissect it and pick it apart. And it's helping to, do the obvious of getting the tidal wave of support behind Trump. And, again, I say all this with immense respect to him, his life, his family, everyone he's working with. I say it as a compliment that they pulled this off, because to me, it shows how technologically advanced whatever they're doing is, and just how morally good they are and competent they are, just from a straight human intellectual standpoint, that they had all the right pieces in place to pull this off and make it look overall compelling that there was a real attempt on his life. But as we've seen, whether it was real or not, there's a lot of questions that are unanswered and a lot of things that people have picked apart. And I think that's the biggest part of this, is helping us all to keep researching and digging and trying to find what the truth is.
So, do you headquarters for the campaign has zero to do with him being president or not? So just so we're clear, but I think the speculation is, oh, see, he's not president. Now he turned it all over to Kamala. It's not that at all. It's just that he deleted the account which he would legally have to do. Now I am curious where the money goes. How are they going to get that money over to Kamala's campaign? You probably know more about that than I do.
Yeah, they were already transferring. I mean, that's the only reason that she would be, quote unquote, the nominees. 250 million reasons why.
Can they do it though? How did they do it? Because according to what I read, when it came to the Republicans, they can't just switch it to another nominee.
No, it has to be the ticket. So it was Biden Harris. So it's for that ticket. So
Yeah.
as long as one of them are there, they can get it, apparently.
So even though he's still president legally, according to the DNC or the rules, right? Whatever the rules are, that they can move it over. That's interesting, fascinating too. So there you go. So this is another thing, guys. if Kamala has all the money, they're not going to put anybody else in there because it's all about money if it's a real campaign.
Right. Now, unless now there's another pathway here, she nominates a vice president candidate, Newsom,
And
Big
again, then
Mike,
yep, and
and then the
then
pack
she's
is for
gone.
that goes to, and then she goes, and that other person takes over. There's
That
a
would be
pathway.
fun.
Yeah. Well,
That's when I would say the white hats are in control. You know what I mean? And of
it ain't
course,
over
you'll have
yet.
the Mike Flynn's of the world and everybody else and saying, no, no, this means the deep state's in control. Exactly the opposite. The funnier and crazier this gets means the good guys are in more control, in my opinion.
Certainly keeps us up and busy, trying to read it all, trying to make sense of it all. It's kind of you know, I guess it's a new hobby for me, you know, for right now. Hey, I just want to remind you guys, if you missed our show on Friday, Lance and I did a deep dive on controlling blood sugar and how important that is. Forget about diabetes, that's later down the road, but healthy, normal human beings have to be in charge and control the blood sugar. And we had a great conversation. We talked a lot about that and the controlling factors of it and why it's important to make sure that you're on top of this. And we did a good job too, because I never really knew what the proper breakfast was. So he revealed what the proper breakfast is. For not for everyone, but for most of us, what a good breakfast is. And Lance, I thank you for that information. I shared it with Phoebe. She goes, "Yes, finally, somebody's got it."
Thank you, Robert, and I loved it, and I shared it with the whole team, and they thanked both of you guys and really loved, the show and just everything that you guys have been doing to help, and they actually shared all of that today. So thank you. I loved it, and it was a great conversation because we haven't really talked a lot about the diet stuff, more on specific things, but it was a good way to like branch out.
Well, it's bringing your expertise in because you were a health coach before you started Ascent Nutrition. So there's a whole background there that it's important to bring that up to the forefront because people don't know there's so much. The health industry. This is my battle. I've been in this for 25 plus years in the health world, and the disinformation. I'm used to it. So now we're seeing in the political realm too, but in the health information, it was like, crazy. Eggs are bad. Don't eat eggs. Then somebody else comes along. No, eggs are good. Eat twice as many eggs, right? And the person looking to go, well, I don't know what to do, right? So it's been like that. So it's really good, Lance, that you can bring some common sense and some truth to the forefront on this topic.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. I've got a couple other things separate from the health stuff and kind of back along these lines. Do you guys want to keep going, or you guys have another guest coming on?
No, you're it
No,
for today.
Yeah, and I'll go through Alan's post, but I can do that separately. What's interesting though is I thought it was awesome, Robert, the way you said there's this amazing breakfast. But guys, we're not going to tell you now. Make sure you go and watch the video. Good job.
Exactly.
Good tease.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Robert. So another interesting thing. I don't know if you guys are talking about some of the stuff that Ivan Raiklin is discussing or putting out there. One of the things that I found interesting, and sorry if you guys have already covered this, he put out a date of September 3rd for whistleblowers. Did you guys already talk about this?
No.
Okay. So he was on Alex Jones. He put out a date of September 3rd for all federal employees. And he said, okay, we know that there's a lot of good people within the government and different parts of the agencies, but the whole system's corrupt and rotten. And you're all being given a chance to come forward as a whistleblower before September 3rd. If you don't, then you're going to be held liable as a co-conspirator in these conspiracies that have taken place, and you will be charged, like he says, maximally to the fullest extent, patriotic, peacefully, and done, swiftly. So I find that, awesome, just that date, because I think whether it's good guys planted within or they're real, authentic, organic whistleblowers, there's going to be a lot of people coming forth, and that's ultimately what we want. And another thing that I wanted to kind of share, even prior to this, with all this news, like you guys were talking about, you guys know this, and you guys are always like saying this in your own words, like all of these times, everything that's happening right now, these are answered prayers for us massively. Even if we don't like that it's taken longer or we can't quite decipher what's actually going on, we know that things are going on. And we have been praying for these times for so long. I mean, imagine 12 years ago when, it was like, okay, a CEO stepped down and that was the big news because it was like, oh, there's, rumors of mass arrests and the CEOs are stepping down. You're going to see big names go down. That was like the only thing that happened. Now so much is taking place that we, truly can't keep up with it. No individual can. And, it's beautiful and amazing. So I'm trying to just stay, even though I've been very impatient over the years, at times I've been more patient than others. I'm just trying to stay grateful and, do what I can in my life and try to enjoy what we are seeing.
Mm-hmm. So a couple things in regards to Ivan. So I spent some time with Ivan actually talking to somebody else, and there was an interesting conversation regarding. I can't give it too much away, but I'll say regarding Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, President Trump, and RFK Jr. So there's a connection between the four there that people will find fascinating in the future. And he's a very interesting guy. He kind of rubbed me the wrong way because there's an ego thing going on there. But at the same time, I paid attention. We exchanged numbers. But what I will say, what's interesting is we always seem to be right there, Robert. So September 3rd just happens to be the launch of what? That's the Unity Tour.
Yep.
So the Unity Tour launches September 3rd. The lineup of guests that are going to be there, guys, somewhere on the Unity, it would just blow you. Virtually every Patriot that you watch that's a Patriot, it seems, is going to be coming on board. And they're going to support and show up, and they understand the power of this. And we wrote this before Trump called for unity, so we're very, very excited about what's to come. And you know what? The other thing I wanted to mention is, you're so right about the CEOs and all this stuff. Here's where we have to work on discernment. So you guys remember when all the farms were burning down and all the chickens were being burned up and cows burned up and all of this stuff, and I mean tens of millions of them, and we were told that this was a deep state act in order to have an attack on our availability to get food. Remember all that? Not one time was a shortage on food. Not once. It never affected us in the least bit. That leads me to believe those were the good guys maybe taking out the bad food, not the bad guys trying to create a food shortage. Because there never was an issue with people. It maybe a day where you couldn't get eggs or you couldn't get beef. It wasn't. And that was the fear porn that we heard. Remember that? Oh my God, they're trying to create a food shortage. This is it. This is the end. They got 30 million chickens have been burnt down and da da da. What if, because that clearly was not the case, what if they already had the replacements in place? They got rid of the bad poultry that was poisoned and put in, and the good guy said, okay, here's the good poultry. To me, that's where we just like to have discernment. And I'm like, that's a more likely scenario. The fact that all these corporate executives from the Fortune 1000 companies resigned, come on. And under a conservative administration, the last thing they would do is resign, because historically their businesses thrive. They don't go down. So that doesn't even make sense either. That seems like that's a white hat operation. So we just have to use the discernment. And then when Lahaina caught on fire, I'm like, there's no way that could be a white hat operation. That was the deep state, right? So there are elements that we have to find. And I think discernment is extraordinarily important here, not just to buy the narrative, which I know both of you do really well, is you really, really use the discernment. I'm going to look for an image while you guys are finishing up here, I think it'll be pretty cool if I can find a way to display it.
Lance, is it true there's a pine cone in the Vatican?
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yes,
it's in
Fontana
front.
della Pigna, the statue.
It's in front. Wow.
Yeah, I believe
That was impressive
it's
when you
it.
shared that on Friday's show.
Yes. Hey, real quick, Lance, isn't it? Isn't it in front of the speaking hall on that pathway into the speaking hall, or am I wrong?
I don't know either way, but that sounds great to me, Lewis. Let's go with that.
The reason why I say it's because that pathway is actually the tongue of the serpent. If you look from top down there, so that would be very interesting because they're trying to
Wow.
tickle your pineal gland.
Makes
Yeah.
complete sense.
Yeah, so one of the things that we brought up, how important the pine tree is and the different elements of the pine tree. And Lance, you wanted to fill us in a little bit on the pine pollen extract and what that does for people, and then we'll give them the link and let them go try it for themselves.
Yeah, definitely. So the pine pollen, we're wild harvesting this from Canada, but kind of stepping back, pine trees obviously have a lot of different nutritional compounds and components to it. So the bark, the needles, the pollen itself. The pollen is most potent for hormones and how it affects our glandular system, specifically relating to the HPA, the hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. And that then obviously ties into the pineal and pituitary right there. But it's nature's highest source of steroids. These are plant hormones that can mimic human hormones and really help us with our hormone function and libido, cardiovascular health, detox, of course, and a lot of other things. And so we wild harvest it, we keep it raw and alive, and it finishes with a really potent finished product.
Can I ask you
Yeah, I can't wait.
what's bigger, the pine tree bark or the pine tree pollen?
What's bigger? What do you mean,
So,
Lewis?
as a bad joke that just went by. What's bigger, the bark or the bite?
All right. I missed it.
I heard it go.
Completely over my head.
That it's my fault. But you know what? The good news is they're not laughing at the joke. They're laughing at how dumb I was saying the joke. So
No,
it'll work out just fine.
Pry at me for not catching it.
No, it's me. Trust me, it's me. My wife is in the background. I get right now going, oh yeah, it's him.
Lewis, I wanted to ask you before.
If you want to find out more about
the
the pine pollen extract, I just want to give people the link, make sure that they know. It's screwbiggov.com/health, screwbiggov.com/health, and you'll be taken right to Lance's website. And we do earn a little bit from every sale, and it helps support our show. And we thank you, Lance, for being such a big supporter of the work that we do here. And we're so proud to have you as a partner.
Same. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Lewis. And I wish that I'm grateful for all the work that I have and all the things that I'm doing. I genuinely and truly wish I had more time to watch your guys' show as often as you guys are on. Back years ago when I was not doing this stuff, I was tuning in to anyone who was talking about, this sort of stuff. And you guys literally would have been at the top of the list because we're speaking the same language. Like, of course, no one ever can fully agree on 100% of the things, but I can truly say it's like 99% of the stuff I think like we truly resonate on. And I love what you guys are doing. So, the gratitude is to you guys as well.
Thank you, Lance. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by today. We got to move along to the next stories. We've got another 15 minutes or so to roll. I want to make sure Lewis has enough time to talk about Alan's post. But Lance, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. Thank you, Lewis. And one last question before I go. Lewis, I think everyone's wanting to know, how are you enjoying the hot tub?
Loving it. It's getting a little hot and sweaty in here, but since we're not on smell-o-vision, I think everybody's going to be in good shape. It's fun, and if I can relax and get work, the problem is I love working for We the People as much as I can. That's just a fact. So if I can actually do some work at the same time, to me, it's a total win. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
I love it.
Man, somebody's asking the pine pollen is not in stock. Is it in stock?
The pine pollen is the pine needle extract is out at the moment.
Is out. Okay.
Yeah, but
So the
pine
pine
pollen's
needle
in.
is out. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, my friend, and we'll have you back on for sure.
Awesome.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks,
Cool
Robert.
science.
Thanks, Lewis. Love you guys. Have a great
You
Love you
too.
too.
show.
Hey, hey guys, before we get on to Alan's post, I want to show you a graphic that we created over the weekend. Hope you appreciate it. It is
I
Robert
don't
said,
think
isn't
they're
it
hearing you,
beautiful?
Lewis. I don't think you're on that shot, so they're not hearing you. There was no audio.
That's interesting, huh? How that's working today.
Yeah,
Oh well,
I think the person speaking needs to be part of on the layers. You need to be on there as a speaker.
we'll learn it. We'll learn it. We'll set it up. Anyways, guys, what I was saying about that is just that we're blessed to always be ahead of the curve. But if you notice, it said unite there, and that's what we started 2 months ago. And now President Trump said it's time to unite. So Unity Tour starts September 3rd through October 5th. 50 cities in 33 days.
Whew. Deep breath, my friend. Deep breath. I know you're working on your health and getting lots of rest because that's a marathon. There's no other way to put it. It is a marathon. 11,000
I
plus miles of driving.
I don't know
Yeah.
about the lots of rest part, but let's go with that narrative. Definitely working on my health, especially working out. Well, my wife and I have been diligently exercising to make sure I'm as fit as possible. And I really, if I have to be honest, I thought I was doing good on nutrition, but I backslide here and there, especially if I'm doing work around the house and working a lot. But we're working on that too. So hopefully I'll take off a few fat pounds and be ready to go. And of course, Neumi is helping me tremendously, and I'm very excited about it. I believe it's going to be momentous. To be honest with you, momentous.
Well, it'll be an interesting time in this battle too, because there's a lot going to happen, in the fall. I think summer, as much as is happening now in July, it's going to pale in comparison by what we see when everyone's back in the game. Because a lot of people are on vacation. It's a little bit slower during the summer. Sort of an understatement. This year, it's really rocking already in July. But I'm expecting big things come the fall. We shall see.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot more coming this month. We've
Yep.
got 8 days of July yet, and then we have what? Hot August coming next. What?
Hot
Ah,
August. Yes.
yes. And they're already. I think the next debate will be what our hero Trump versus knee pad Harris. So that's the way we're going to bill it actually. So
Knee pad Trump. I mean, knee pad Harris. I like it.
knee pad Harris. I like calling her knee pad Harris.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you want me to read Alan's post? This guy's just so brilliant.
Do it, my friend.
All right. So what Alan sees going on, which is kind of interesting because you and I have hinted on this, but his take is interesting, is the demise of the two-party system, right? Which I think would be epic. My belief system, before I get into this, is uh, the Trump team is literally dismantling and embarrassing the Democrat Party, the Democrats. My wife talks to people all the time that she knows are Democrats, and now they're like, "Well, I'm not really a Democrat." That's because they're so embarrassed by their own party. They can't even admit that they're a Democrat anymore. Well, I'm not really apologies promoted by various party system, which are behind this divide and conquer agenda, might seem like they have taken us to a place of forever divide, yet it is mine and other critical thinkers in my network of forward thinkers who believe this is inevitable launch of the We the People independent party movement and the destruction of the two-party system. I agree. It is also my discernment that our algorithms and artificial intelligence might have assisted in seeding the public enough information that once the proper independent candidate appears on the scene, that we can create unity and bridge the divide sides by common interests, that this candidate will help of some of the wag the dog and some divinely God inspired actions could emerge as our new president if that is the system remain under. As most in my orbit feel, this old system has to end for the return of a system that will accommodate our rapid rise into the new quantum technology future. Now, he's not labeled a date here, so I'm not quite sure what the date he's talking about, but I find it fascinating. And I do believe there will be a galvanizing candidate in the future that will help bring everybody together. Because there are some basic pillars, like we just posted a minute ago, that virtually everybody can agree upon. Let's stop with the picking the sides all the time. So many out in America misunderstand MAGA, and so many on the right misunderstand the origins of woke agendas come from the globalist liberals, not from their AI and algorithm programmed voting liberal public. Most are good-hearted but confused by misleading talking points. Today's validation by West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin that he will not seek office but dominating news cycle to me indicates this is where consciousness is moving, an independent candidate. Will this candidate be Robert Kennedy as the current high-profile independent, or will another candidate roll out on the scene with the integrity and policies that appeal to the humanity in which we all share? There is much chatter among the ethers that the entire normal election cycle could be interrupted by some external event only known by God or advanced intelligence assets. What we can and all likely agree is that it is time to take our country back for we the people, so align with those who are encouraging this path. Be sure to follow Screw Big Gov on Rumble. Oh, thanks, Alan. On Rumble for news, views, and conspiracies for the upcoming Unity Tour that would be hitting 50 cities, 33 days, yada, yada, yada. Come get inspired on how to be part of a solution for we the people. So it's an interesting take. So what I believe Alan is saying too is, and I don't know that Robert F. Kennedy is the guy because I have issues with him, but that we're going to have to move away from this two-party system eventually. And Robert, you and I have been saying this for a while because it's making it important that we look at each candidate based on their fruits and not based on the letter that's next to the name. Because just voting for an R is proven to put us in a lot of hot water over the years because 9 times out of 10, that R is a deep state asset anyways.
Now, class R is for Rhino.
Right, exactly. True.
Yep, we've been down that path before, have we not, Lewis? Crazy. Yeah. Now we have to look at the merits and we have to look at the actions, right? So we know in NLP, for instance, that the words are the least important part of the communication model, right? It's only 7%. And if you look at a politician's words, and we saw that Kamala had a little speech last night, and she says all the right things because she had a good speechwriter. Is she going to do any of those things? No, she's not going to do any of those things, clearly. So we look for the actions instead. And, with her, it's easy. You have 3.5 years of inaction, right? She's done nothing. Word salads, those are kind of entertaining sometimes, but she's done nothing for us in 3.5 years. So you look at that and you say, well, that's clearly not the candidate. Trump he stood by his word. He's done a lot of what he said he was going to do. Of course, that first term he had some bad picks and he had no help from Congress and the Senate. So okay, maybe there's some hope there. But the polarizing part is a challenge. He's very polarizing. People who hate him really hate him, and there is no channel in to get them to change their mind. They're so indoctrinated in the hate. So
yeah, it's true and sad. Yeah, my wife, Araceli, had a wonderful conversation with somebody new today, a client that somebody referred to her, and it blew her away because this person had no knowledge of anything. She didn't have a clue that Biden was the
Yeah. Well, a lot of the intellectuals, the quote unquote the smartest among us, are the easiest to indoctrinate because their whole life they've been indoctrinated. They've never left that academic system, right? So they're already primed and prepared for that kind of thing. And you and I, Lewis, I can't speak for you, but I can certainly speak for me. In high school, I tuned it mostly out. I was the yearbook photographer, and any chance I had, I took up that camera and got out of class. The last year of high school, my senior year, hardly attended class. I just didn't, This is like I couldn't deal with this anymore, you know.
That's interesting. We virtually did the same thing our last year of senior. Is I was handed a 35 millimeter camera and said, I want you to be the producer of a senior production for our school, and here go get a bunch of pictures and put it to music. Okay. So there, class. What was that? Hey, folks, real quick. Many people are asking about Alan Fountain's post. I just now put the link in the chat if you're watching live, or you can, if you're still watching live and you hit refresh, it is now in the description also. So make sure you can go read his stuff, guys. You're going to be blown away. Pretty good.
It's a really good writer. Yeah, no question. No question. Should we talk Unity Tour? Let's play the Unity Tour intro here.
Boom, bada bing. That's right.
There we go.
That's right.
That's better.
I figured. No, here, check this out. I clicked it. Check this out. See if this works. Boom. Is it working now?
Look at that, huh?
Look at that. So, guys, this is the Unity Tour. Unite, up and down. United to eliminate New World control, illegal immigration. To see that beautiful eagle and that message on Esther. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know one thing for sure, that our buddy is working really, really hard at making this a reality. Let's see here. Okay, so there that is. All right. Yeah, Bruce has been working really hard to make sure Esther's in tip-top shape for the 11,000 plus mile tour. Boy, I don't know how that man's got so much on his plate, but he gets it done. Amazing.
Well, and you can imagine too, working in a non-air conditioned area. It's been 100+ degrees where he has massive humidity, and he's putting it together. So hats off to Bruce Poppy on that one.
Yep. He's doing a lot for us. All right. A couple of WTF kind of fun moments. This one's our buddy. Pretty funny. I thought this was hilarious. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I don't know. Listen to this.
It's a story about a woman who walked into a bridal shop one day and told the sales clerk that she was looking for a wedding gown for her 4th wedding. Well, the saleswoman asked, just exactly what type of dress are you looking for? A long, flowing white dress with a veil, she responded with assurance. Not totally convinced, but afraid to offend the woman, the sales lady said, dresses of that nature are usually more appropriate for brides who are being married for the first time, for those a bit more innocent, if you know what I mean. Well, the lady retorted and put her hand on her hip. I do know what you mean, and I can assure you I'm as innocent as the rest of them. Despite all my marriages, I remain as innocent as any first-time bride. Well, you see, my first husband was a dear, sweet man. It was a terrible tragedy, actually. All the excitement of the wedding was simply too much for him as we checked into the hotel on our wedding night. I'm sorry to hear that, said the clerk, but what about the others? Well, my second husband and I got into a terrible fight in the limousine on the way to our wedding reception. We haven't spoken since and got the marriage quickly annulled. What about your third husband? Asked the store clerk. Well, the woman replied, he was a Democrat. And every night for 4 years, he just sat on the edge of the bed and told me how good it was going to be. Sorry, I just couldn't resist telling you.
Did you catch the punchline, Lewis?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was beautiful. Democrats always promise you everything and deliver nothing.
Yep. Exactly
Now,
right. Exactly right.
well, but isn't it the same with rhinos?
They're same. They're cut from the same cloth, right?
Yeah.
No question.
One stabs you in the front, one stabs you in the back.
Yep. Yeah. I thought that was cute, coming from him so many years ago, and kind of fun to share that. Yeah. This one is one you picked up. I thought this was kind of funny as well. Anyway, let's watch it. Not at all. That would have never happened. This is a different world. I mean, these kids never went outside and scuffed up their knees, and they're behind computer screens all day when they're not in school, and even when they're at school now, they have devices on them all the time. It's just a very different world. They're just. It scares me for the generations that are going to come, because you don't have any toughness out there, right?
Well, maybe I'm a Pollyanna, but I'm seeing a little bit different. I'm seeing the generations that are coming out right now. The a lot of the 14 to 20-year-olds,
Gen
they're
Z.
starting to. Yeah, well, no, I think aren't we past the Gen Z? I thought that was the 20 to ones to whatever. But whatever I'm seeing right now, the teenagers I'm seeing are a lot more advanced than that knucklehead that was on their screen, and they're almost seeing this as foolish
Yeah.
in some cases, and I'm seeing they're mocking it and calling it out. Now, of course, there's still a huge element of that, but I think we're going to be all right, because I'm noticing a lot of youngsters that are just saying this has just gone way too far, and interesting, they're still trying to be empathetic. But at the same time, they're like, nope, I'm not going to do that. And, we're lucky enough to travel all over the United States with the Truth Tour. We saw a lot of people pre-20, let's say pre-22, that were very, very away. So I think there's hope, actually.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I would think that now that so many parents are pulling their kids out of the indoctrination centers, here in California, it's incredible to see how many are just not sending them there anymore. And, I think that's going to shift. I think the generation following probably will have better morals and be more well suited for life ahead. Someone's going to insult you. Yeah, it happens all the time. So what? You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. You move on.
Yeah,
Just
and
don't believe everything you hear.
could be the pendulum effect, but
Yeah.
I do think that people are aware of what propaganda looks like more. I would definitely say this in the coming near future, we're going to be in good shape. Somebody's asking, why are you wearing a wireless earbud, Lewis? You're frying your brain unless you have some technology that makes them not do that. Wow. There's always a critic. Well, I figured it would be better than plugging in while I'm inside of the jacuzzi and to a microphone. But I appreciate your concern, but I'm not as bright as some people. Anyways, I do believe, yes, there's a pendulum, which is important to know that always happens. But it seems like, at least I'm seeing it with even my own kids, they're more aware of this stuff, like right away. When something comes out, they're like, nah, that doesn't make sense. Or no, that doesn't add up. And I hate to give credit to just one entity, but I think X has a lot to do with that. And TikTok, let's give it credit to two. I believe X and TikTok have slipped in a lot of things that are people that the youngsters that are watching it are going, okay, maybe it's not all of what we believe. And it's harder to move to the right when you're young outwardly. Inwardly, it's actually easier because it resonates more.
Right.
Outwardly, it's tougher because of the pressure. So I believe the TikToks and the X's of the world are starting to make that a little bit easier. And the more people that outwardly are not afraid to speak in some conservative, or let's just say a we the people manner, I believe we're going to be in pretty good shape.
I hope you're right, my friend. I hope you're right. We've got, well, I'm looking at toward the end of the year and looking at the transitions starting to happen for the better. And they're really going to be unmistakable. Probably by the early fall, we'll start to see things breaking through. I mean, just look at what happened already in July. The list is crazy. I mean, just today. You know what I mean? So just to give you an idea, there's a lot of momentum building. There's a lot of pent up demand. There's a lot of frustration that's going to push this along forward. It's going to go a lot faster, I think, than, we've been seeing it go really slow, but that's the way it happens, right? The fuse goes slow until it hits the keg and then kaboom. And I think we're getting very close to that. So,
yeah. And we are in a quantum reality. Alan Fountain and I talk a lot about the 100th monkey effect, and he likes to say we're at the 95th monkey right now. And there's some truth to that, because within the quantum realm, when people start to get it, it's going to create momentum, and the more people, it's just going to assimilate. And maybe this is part of the so-called ascension process. I hate to say 3D, 4D, 5D, whatever they want to call it. That's fine. But there is an ascension process going on now. It's very, very clear. And that future only looks bright. So that's why the fear porn stuff really kind of gets to me.
Yep. Ascend, my friend, ascend. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We've come to the end of our journey together, but there will be more this week. There'll be shows tomorrow. We'll be back with more news on Wednesday, and we probably have special guests for you Tuesday, Thursday, and then we'll have another a show on Friday as well. Lots to do. This week is going to pop. I think there's going to be a lot for us to cover, Lewis. I hope you don't like sleeping as much as you used to, because you're probably not going to do a lot of that this week. I have this sneaking feeling.
Yeah, well, I never sleep, so that's not going to be an issue. Tomorrow, We the People Are the Power should be the final episode with Ethan, Lucas, and I. So it'll be pretty powerful. Show you some more documentation. That's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you,
my
my
and then
friend.
Kathy O'Brien's on Thursday. Boom.
Oh, there you go. That'll be fun too.
Yep.
Thank you, Lewis. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone watching. Make sure you like, follow, and be part of our world. Keep in touch. Subscribe to our newsletters on screwbiggov.com and renegademedia.tv. Make sure your email's on our list, because if we go zap over here, we'll still be able to keep in touch and tell you where we're going to be next.
That's right. Thank you,
All
folks.
right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.